Hi everyone, I'm Hussein, and in this video I'm going to talk about interfaces and inheritance. Well, let's start with inheritance. In inheritance, once a class is inherited from another class, we call that class a superclass, and the child class can inherit properties and members and methods of the superclass. So let's get into the code to see how does it work. So let's assume that we have a class called class shape, and this class have two properties. Let's say int x, and let me define this now. Another property called y. We're actually talking about the position of this shape, and a method called let me write this, public void goto, and in here we're receiving int x and int y. Now, to inherit from the shape class, we're going to define another class. Let's say it public class rectangle. And now to inherit from the shape, we just come in front of our class name and then writing colon space shape. That's it. Now we can access everything from the shape by using the rectangle. You see, we do have access to the x and y, which were defined in this class. And also we have the access to the goto. See? We do have access to those because the rectangle inherited those methods and properties from the shape. Now let me just implement this one in here. Now we can add even more properties to this specific class. This class has even more things called with get and set. Public the height. Now, let's see our rectangle dot width and height. Now let's see what is a virtual function. To define a virtual function, for example, this function, we can add virtual before the returning type and after the visibility. So any class that is derived from the shape can override this method in a way that it likes it. Okay, now let's write this public override void goto. Now we overrided this, but inside of it we said, okay, go and use the base class, which is the shape implementation of goto. So it will literally goes and executes these lines of codes. But we're gonna change it here. We're gonna say, okay, the x shall be the lowercase x plus width, and y should be lowercase y plus height. So now you see that the goto function has completely different implementation from the base class. So this way you might have a function, let's say static void goto and print location. Now we're going to say where to go to, the new location, and why. Now here we can even add the shape to this method. Now this method doesn't care what kind of shape would you like to put in. It will move it to the position that you specified and then prints the location. So for that it will write the shape dot go to the xy and then console dot write line to new x and new y, shape dot y, shape dot x, and then use it here. Our rectangle, we passed our rectangle and new positions, let's say 2 and 4. Now we can have a constructor for our shape, public shape. It can be public or private or protected. We discussed about it in previous videos. Anyway, I want to add x and y here. Then coming down here, this dot x, this dot y. This way we force our client of shape to initiate the x and y. Let me add this one here. Because the shape explicitly defined a constructor which shall fill its parameters. So to do that, we can write the public rectangle and then int x and int y, then colon base, writing the x and y. But the point is that our rectangle has some demands for himself too. So I would like to come to here and add int width and int height. So let me change these for the convention, right? Then this dot width and this dot height. Now for here, I would like to come and write 1, 2, and writing the other one as 1 and 2, the height and width. And now let's start our application to see the result. So you can see we have added the 1 to 2 and 2 to 4, which resulted in 6. So now let's talk about interfaces. To define an interface, we should write just like what we wrote in class. Instead of writing class, write interface. And then we write the name of our interface. I want to write it as a iDrawable. And this interface has one method. Please pay attention that we don't write the visibility here, because all methods that are defined in interface are public. So I want to write it as void draw and that. One important thing is that the interfaces does not have any implementation, though you can have some kind of implementation here, but that's not recommended. And in previous versions of C#, it was forbidden. So what we write in interfaces are doable things. For example, in this interface, we called it drawable because any class that take this interface are going to be drawable. So what a drawable shape do, or what a drawable object do, is to be able to be drawn, right? So I want to add this to here, iDrawable. As you can see, we have an error, a compiler error, which says you did not implement the method that was specified in drawable. So I write it to be implemented. So by holding the Alt and then Enter, we got this menu, and I click on Implement the interface. It will make things more easy for us. So in here, I would like to write console.writeLine. We're not actually going to draw this shape. We will have an episode that will teach us how to do these things. But for now, no. We're just going to draw rectangle. Because the point here is not to actually draw the rectangle. We're just going to see how interfaces are working. So if we assume that we have a render class here, static void render. What a render class does take, it takes an iDrawable object. So it can draw the shape for us. And I like to write it here, render my rectangle. Though we know that it could be anything here. So the advantage here is that if we had a square, our triangle, so we could pass any of these things here without any problem. So that's it for today, people. In the near future, I will publish a console GUI so you can learn more about the inheritance and interfaces and how does the object-oriented programming work. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you like this video and subscribe to my channel and hit the bell so you will be notified once I publish my next video. Thank you.